So in December 2012, many people believed that was going to be the end of the world. For several years leading up to this date, people were warned about a coming apocalypse that was going to happen at that time on exactly 21st December 2012. And even movies like 2012 were made about this, predictive programming. And so 2012 comes around, and guess what happens? Well, nothing happens. So people laughed it off and continued to go about their normal lives, and now we're in 2025, the end. But wait, did the world actually end in 2012? Meet Aleister Crowley. He bears the title of the wickedest man in the world. Born on 12 October 1875, Aleister Crowley was an English occultist and a ceremonial magician, and he's a very important figure, and believe it or not, the reason why our modern day culture is what it is today.
Do whatever you want to do.
In 1887, Crowley experienced a tough illness which made him question his morality. And from then on, he devoted his life to occultism. He studied black magic, alchemy, and started indulging in satanic rituals. Crowley joined secret occults like the Order of the Golden Dawn. In 1900, he joined the Freemasons, and in 1903, he would marry a woman named Rose. Even the wickedest man in the world could bag a chick. In 1905, him and Rose would arrive in Cairo, Egypt, rented an apartment, and they quickly turned it into a temple. This is where it all began. Aleister and Rose, through demonic rituals, would begin to invoke ancient Egyptian deities. And this is when Aleister claimed that Rose would be possessed and start speaking in tongues, telling him that they had been waiting for him. She later explained that the deities she was speaking about were the gods of HORUS. If you've watched my old video, Aliens and Ancient Egyptian Gods, you would know that these Egyptian gods were very much real, but they're actually just fallen angels disguised as Egyptian gods. The voice through Rose also proclaimed to Crowley that the equinox of the gods has come. A new aeon of mankind's history had arrived, and he was its chosen voice. He was in short the Moses, whose task would be to forge the link between mankind and the spiritual force making its presence known. Lastly, Rose also informed him that he was gonna meet his holy guardian angel that would instruct him on what to do to bring about this new age. On April 8, 9, and 10 in 1905, Crowley heard a disembodied voice in his head. The entity's name was Iwas, and it claimed to be the messenger of HORUS. And Aleister even drew a picture of this entity, and this later became the universal depiction of an alien. This entity instructed Crowley to write a book, and Crowley wrote everything that the voice was telling him. And from that came the Satanic Book of the Law, and it proclaimed that, "Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law." And if you pay attention, that's our culture's leading philosophy and has been for a very long time.
Your dreams will fly on magical wings when you follow your heart.
When you follow your heart.
Do you ever have this sense when you're following your bliss, as I have at moments, of being helped by hidden hands?
All the time. It's miraculous. I even have a superstition that has grown on me as the result of invisible hands coming all the time. Namely, that if you do follow your bliss, you put yourself on a kind of track that has been there all the while waiting for you. And the life that you ought to be living is the one you're living. I say follow your bliss and don't be afraid, and doors will open where you didn't know they were going to be.
Everyone keeps telling me how my story is supposed to go. Nah, I'm gonna do my own thing. Sorry, man.
Do whatever you want to do.
In each case, the phrase either encourages unrestrained will, flatters the ego, or suggests personal truth is the highest truth. All are modern echoes of "do what thou wilt" shall be the whole of the law. Celebrities become priests of the new religion. Pop stars, actors, icons.
My heart is the ruler of all my being. If my heart tells me it's true, that's good enough for me.
Dr. Crowley stated it this way in his infamous Book of the Law: every man and every woman is a star or a god. And as we saw earlier, do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law.
I'm basically a free thinker. Whatever anybody wants to do, they can do whatever they want as long as it doesn't hurt other people.
I live by myself, you know, I live by my own values and all that, morals. I set my own ways.
How do you determine what those morals and values are?
Well, I don't know, I just do what's right for myself.
And in America, Satanism is sensationalized and kind of misunderstood, and people associate it with worshiping the devil and things like that. But it's really a philosophy about individuality and self-preservation. It's about, you know, being your own God.
Oh, you know, he's got a God complex because he said if they wrote the Bible again, he would be in it. Duh, yeah, I would be in it. I feel like I'm one of the more important people, you know, in pop culture right now. One of the only people with an opinion. The Bible had, you know, 20, 30, 40, 50 characters in it. You don't think I would be one of the characters of today's modern Bible? And people have their own forms of Bibles now, you know. It's a new day and age. People have their own thinking. People have their own things that they're into. People have their own religion. Hip-hop is a religion to a certain extent, and the rappers are the preachers. And the music is the scriptures. You know, it's just like church, because you go to a concert, you raise your hands in the air, you get dressed up, you sing songs, and you definitely pay some money. It's just like church.
This principle has created state-funded chaos to dissolve old values and push inner freedom, but always within a controlled narrative. And mass media is a ritual tool to indoctrinate, and Crowley's message becomes culture itself. Liberation becomes programming. But let's go back to this book and why it's so important. The Book of the Law is a sacred text that describes the dawning of a new age for mankind, and the instructions for this age fit Crowley's character perfectly. He was really destined for this. The new aeon was for the crowned and conquering child. This is the time we can realize ourselves as gods, and the religion he called it Thelema, which means will. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law is the foundation of this religion. Do whatever you want because you are your own God.
Go ahead, email me now in that place. Go ahead. You tap into who you really are. You know what the Bible calls you? It says you are little Elohim. You are a little God.
But notice I said the new aeon was for the crowned and conquering child. Which child? So, according to Aleister Crowley's Thelema and occult teachings, the world is divided into 4 ages which they call aeons. The first age is the age of Isis. Isis was considered to be the Egyptian female goddess of motherhood, healing, fertility, magic, and the moon. The age of Isis was called the Aeon of the Great Goddess, where Mother Nature in itself was worshipped as a god. This period was marked by pagan worship of the mother and nature, emphasizing the feminine, divine, and the natural world. It was a simple, quiet, and easy time. Essentially, the world was wrapped in innocence. The maternal figure was not viewed just as biological but cosmic, Earth as a mother sustaining and sheltering all beings. According to occultists, this age took place around the year 24,000 BC, lasting to the 800 BC. That's when the age of Isis ended and the age of Osiris began. The age of Osiris was the second age that was ruled over by the god Osiris. This was a shift from a matriarchal age to a patriarchal age. Osiris was god of fertility, agriculture, the afterlife, death, resurrection, and vegetation in ancient Egyptian religion. Crowley explained that this aeon was the one ruled by the dying god model, meaning that people no longer worship Mother Nature like they did in the previous age of Isis, but now they worship a single god who will die and be resurrected as seen in the Abrahamic religions like Christianity. This aeon of Isis eventually gave way to the aeon of Osiris, marked by the rise of patriarchal religions, organized priesthoods, and the worship of a dying and rising god like Osiris, Dionysus, and Jesus. This transition brought a shift from nature-based feminine worship to sky gods and solar deities, a focus on sacrifice, guilt, sin, and redemption. The birth of dualism, body versus spirit, earth versus heaven, woman versus man. It is believed that this age started in the classical ages and lasted until 21st December 2012, the end of the world. December 2012, the age of Osiris officially came to an end and the age of Horus was conceived. Notice I said conceived and not started because Horus is the child of the gods Isis and Osiris. Hence why I mentioned earlier the new aeon was for the crowned and conquering child. So stay with me now. Children are born, and that's exactly how the age of Horus works, and I'll explain that in a bit. The age of Horus is the age to be ruled by the conquering child god Horus. Horus was the god of kingship, healing, protection, the sun and the sky, and was considered to be one of the most important gods worshipped by the Egyptians, for he represented victory, individuality, and the power of divine kingship. Horus was the son of 2 gods of the prior ages, Isis and Osiris, and essentially these two birthed a new age. Crowley describes the age of Horus being one of great awakening and self-realization, where the world will abandon Abrahamic religions for a new spiritual belief of worshipping themselves and, doing whatever you want. This is the time whereby man worships himself and lives by the creole, do what thou wilt. Follow your own will. Do what you think is best and forget about God's will because you are your own God.
Your highest divine light, the higher self, is the higher dimensional aspect of you that is your core truth. That is one with Source, the one, the divine, the infinite. In this video, we're going to focus on connecting with your highest divine self, your highest divine light, and that part of you that is one with divine I am, all that is, and that can most support and guide and assist you in your life.
Discover the power within you by Eric Butterworth, where he talks about the Christ consciousness. And up until then, I thought Jesus came, died on the cross, that Jesus' being here was about his death and dying on the cross, when it really was about him coming to show us how to do it, how to be, to show us the Christ consciousness that he had, and that consciousness abides with all of us.
When it really was about him coming to show us how to do it, how to be, to show us the Christ consciousness that he had, and that consciousness abides with all of us. And that consciousness abides with all of us.
That is, without any doubt, the teaching on the Atman. That is our subject this morning. You might think, Atman, who or what is that? It's you. It's our real nature, what we are. Sri Krishna starts off by teaching Arjuna the doctrine of the Atman. What we really are, not what we think of ourselves, but what we really are. And this is the central teaching of Vedanta, that if we would really know ourselves as we truly are, Atman means the self, the essence, the self of what we truly are. If we know that, who am I or what am I, then all our problems would actually be solved. Do you see the question? There is something which is wonderful, that it is something extraordinary, call it God or Brahman or whatever, and it is immortal, it does not die, it's beyond suffering and death. How nice. But how does that help me? It says that by realizing that you go beyond death, it can only mean one thing. Do you know what it is? That realizing that means realizing that is I.
Taoism is an ancient Chinese philosophy and religion dating back 2,500 years to the writing of the Tao Te Ching by Lao Tzu. You can think about it as the Bible for Taoism. Now, the main thrust of Taoism is to follow the Tao, or the path, or way.
If you observe the Chinese character Tao, the first three strokes, that's Yin Yao and Yang Yao, that represents the Yin Yang balance. Then, Zi, which means oneself. That means Tao is not far from you. Tao is within you.
This is a pretty powerful idea. We don't have to rely on an external God. Through our own actions, we can find balance.
I'm not in covenant with a political party. I'm in covenant with God Almighty. I am God Almighty. God said, let us make man in our image, in our likeness. You are not my maker. You will not be my mirror. When God said, I am to Moses, my name is I am. He was trying to get him to see, you are as I am. When I read in the Bible where he says, I am, I just smile and say, yes, I am too.
Go ahead, email me now in that place. Go ahead. You tap into who you really are. You know what the Bible calls you? It says you are little Elohim. You are a little God.
Takes or accepts the premise that man is not a creature to be redeemed, but one who must recognize within himself his own potential, his own liabilities, and deal with them accordingly. Man can no longer fall back on established religion as a sort of identity, collective identity. And occultism is a sort of do-it-yourself God kit, in whatever form it takes, oriented towards personal power.
And in America, Satanism is sensationalized and kind of misunderstood, and people associate it with worshiping the devil and things like that. But it's really a philosophy about individuality and self-preservation. It's about being your own God.
One of Crowley's students, Lon Milo, who wrote many books about Crowley's teachings, concluded that the age of Aquarius is actually the age of Horus. He said this: "The aeon of Horus is coincidental to what astrologers and songwriters call the age of Aquarius and what millions of others refer to simply as the New Age. But it would be a mistake to view this new aeon simply as another tick on the great cosmic clock. The age of Aquarius, profoundly significant as it is the only one aspect of a far greater new spiritual age." And here's where it all connects. Note that Aquarius is ruled by the planets Uranus and Saturn. So it's not a coincidence how mainstream pop culture worships the planet Saturn. When you pay attention to Hollywood and the music industry for long enough, they are always taking pictures and showing Saturn symbolism, or they are always showing depictions of Saturn in music videos and movies. Saturn is everywhere in Hollywood. In ancient Rome, Saturn was one of the most powerful gods in their belief system. Saturn was the god of time, generation, agriculture, abundance, periodic renewal, and liberation. Saturn was so important to the Romans that they celebrated him yearly during a 7-day festival called Saturnalia. This was celebrated in December, starting on the 17th to the 25th. During the festival, the Roman people would participate in several activities and rituals like feasting, gift-giving, and human sacrifices dedicated to Saturn. Yes, they would sacrifice literal human beings. Saturnalia eventually became Christmas. When Emperor Constantine got into power around 324 AD, he realized that Christianity was gaining popularity and more people started to do away with their old pagan beliefs. So he and the Roman Catholic Church chose December 25th to be Jesus' birthday in order to keep their pagan Saturnalia alive. So, they merged it with Christian-themed beliefs. The first people to celebrate Christmas was the Roman Catholic Church in 336 AD. Due to Saturn being the god of time and agriculture, the pagans worshipped him during the winter because he was associated with death and rebirth. The winter time is a period when all the crops and vegetation would die before its rebirth. And since the winter time was the end of the year, this coincided with the death of the year and the rebirth of the new year. And because of this, many occultists today still directly worship Saturn as a result of the age of Aquarius. In Hollywood, Saturn worship is seen all over the industry, with the biggest celebrities showing their worship to Saturn. Did you know that Hollywood has a yearly Saturn Award? The Academy of Science Fiction, Fantasy, and Horror hosts a Saturn Award yearly where the winner receives a trophy shaped as Saturn. This is open Saturn worship. Back in 2017, Katy Perry did a performance where she was floating on a giant Saturn planet, clearly showing her alliance to the pagan god. She also got a tattoo of a Saturn planet on her wrist. Lady Gaga wore a Saturn headpiece to the Ellen show. Saturn is often depicted having 7 main rings around the planet, and this is exactly what Lady Gaga is depicting, as well as this outfit she wore at the SNL skit in 2009. I was only 4 years at that time, and I could still already tell something was fishy. Oh, and speaking of Saturn having 7 rings, I've also been debating myself about what Saturn's favorite movie is, whether that be The Lord of the Rings or Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Kim Kardashian also wore a Saturn outfit displaying Saturn rings, and so did Beyonce, wearing a Saturn-themed outfit and also Saturn earrings. Same Saturn earrings that Adele was wearing during this performance. Adele also has a Saturn tattooed on her arm. Miley Cyrus also has a Saturn tattoo. Keisha also has a Saturn tattoo. You can't tell me all these people just coincidentally like the planet Saturn. That's just absurd. Ariana Grande does not just have a song 7 Rings, which is a direct reference to the 7 rings around Saturn we spoke about earlier, but also Saturn Returns interlude, which is in my view a direct reference to the age of Aquarius, the aeon of Horus. SZA also has a song called Saturn. Just like Ariana Grande's song, it's about Saturn's return, and I would interpret that as the age of Aquarius. Taylor Swift has a song called 7, which again refers to 7 rings of Saturn. In the song, Taylor sings about I love you to the moon and Saturn. Taylor Swift also released a music video along with Ice Spice fully displaying Saturn's imagery. In the video, she shows herself holding the moon while Ice Spice is seen holding Saturn. It also depicts an hourglass, which is also associated with Saturn because Saturn is the god of time. Stevie Wonder also has a song dedicated to Saturn as well. Doja Cat also displayed the Saturn imagery. Here's her holding Saturn at the 2022 Billboard Music Awards. And not only celebrities, but the Saturn logo can be also seen in the world's biggest brands. It is absurdly everywhere and always has been, but we just haven't been able to see it because of our lack of knowledge, hidden in plain sight. The eyes cannot see what is invisible to the mind.